Everyone in the neighborhood remembered her. Nobody remembered her name. The woman arrived at the cafe every morning at exactly 9 o'clock. Not 9:05, not 8:58. 9. The same table, the same black coffee, the same folded newspaper. After a few months, nobody thought much about it. People become part of a place. The old man who feeds pigeons. The woman who walks the same dog every afternoon. The teenager who studies in the corner booth. The woman at table 7 became one of those people. At least that's what Ethan believed. Ethan had worked at the cafe for nearly 4 years. He knew most of the regular customers, not personally, but enough to recognize their routines. The woman at table 7 was different, not because she caused problems, not because she demanded attention. Actually, she was probably the easiest customer in the building. She was polite, quiet, friendly. She tipped well. She always thanked the staff before leaving. Nothing about her felt unusual. At first. The strange part wasn't the woman. The strange part was everyone else. One morning, she waved to a man entering the cafe. A construction worker Ethan had seen dozens of times. The woman smiled. "How's your daughter doing?" The man froze, only for a second. Then he smiled. "She's doing better." The woman nodded. "I'm glad." That was it. A normal conversation. Ethan barely noticed it, but similar conversations kept happening. Every day, with different people, different lives, different stories. The woman seemed to know everyone. One morning, she greeted a customer whose mother had recently undergone surgery. Another day, she asked an elderly woman whether her grandson had finally moved back home. Every answer was correct. Every detail was accurate. People never seemed surprised that she knew these things, at least not immediately. They usually reacted a few seconds later, as if they suddenly realized they had no idea how she knew them. Then they would leave, and the woman would return to her newspaper. Months passed. The neighborhood accepted her. People even looked forward to seeing her. Some stopped by her table before work. Others chatted with her for a few minutes before heading home. She never appeared busy. She always listened. She always remembered. And that was what made her different. She remembered everything. One rainy morning, Ethan accidentally brought her the wrong order. Before he could apologize, she smiled. "Your mind's somewhere else today." Ethan laughed. "Is it that obvious?" The woman folded her newspaper. "You haven't spoken to your father in 3 weeks." The smile disappeared from Ethan's face. The woman calmly sipped her coffee. His father lived in another city. Nobody in the neighborhood knew him. Nobody talked about him. Ethan certainly hadn't. "How do you know that?" The woman looked out the window. "Call him." Then she changed the subject. That afternoon, Ethan called his father. Not because he believed the woman, because he couldn't stop thinking about it. The call lasted nearly an hour. When it ended, Ethan realized something unsettling. The woman had been right. Again. After that, he began paying attention. Really paying attention. He watched who approached her. He listened whenever he could. And eventually, he noticed something. A pattern. The woman rarely spoke to happy people. She wasn't rude to them. She simply ignored them. Instead, she always seemed drawn toward people who were carrying something. Grief, loneliness, regret, distance. The widower who sat alone every Thursday. The nurse who ate lunch by herself. The man whose divorce had become neighborhood gossip. The woman knew them all. And somehow, she always knew exactly what to say. One afternoon, Ethan asked another regular customer about her. The customer laughed. "She's helped a lot of people." "What's her name?" The customer blinked, then frowned. "I actually don't know." The answer bothered Ethan more than it should have. The next day, he asked someone else. Same answer. Then someone else, and someone else. Nobody knew. The woman had become one of the most familiar faces in the neighborhood. Yet nobody could tell him her name. Months later, Ethan finally decided to ask her directly. The cafe was nearly empty. The woman sat alone reading her newspaper. Ethan walked over. "You know, I've served you coffee for almost a year." She smiled. "I know. I never learned your name." The woman looked amused. "That's true." "So what is it?" For the first time, she didn't answer immediately. She folded the newspaper carefully, placed it beside her coffee. Then she smiled. "Maybe another time." Ethan laughed. "No chance." The woman laughed too. Then she stood, collected her things, and left. The next morning she didn't come. That wasn't unusual. Everyone misses a day occasionally. Then she missed another. And another. A week passed. Then two. The woman never returned. People noticed.
The cafe felt different.
Customers asked about her.
The widower asked.
The nurse asked. The construction worker asked. Even people Ethan barely recognized asked whether anyone had seen her. Nobody had. One afternoon, Ethan started asking questions. Not because he was worried, because he was curious. Where had she gone? Who was she? The first answers surprised him. The second answers disturbed him. Every person remembered her. Every person described her as kind. Every person described her as helpful. Every person remembered conversations with her. Yet nobody remembered anything specific. Not really. The details were gone. The feelings remained. But the words didn't. A customer remembered receiving advice. He couldn't remember the advice. Another remembered discussing his marriage. He couldn't remember what she said. The construction worker remembered talking about his daughter. He couldn't remember a single sentence. The more Ethan asked, the stranger it became. Everyone remembered her. Nobody remembered her words. Weeks later, Ethan found himself staring at table 7. The empty chair. The untouched space. The place where she had spent nearly every morning for a year. And suddenly he realized something. He couldn't remember her face. Not clearly. He knew what she looked like, or at least he thought he did. But every time he tried to picture her, the image slipped away. Not completely, just enough. Like a dream fading after you wake up. The realization terrified him, because he had spoken to her hundreds of times. He had served her coffee. He had watched her read. He had listened to her conversations. Yet somehow, the details were disappearing. One by one. Months passed. The neighborhood moved on. People always do. New customers arrived. Old customers stopped coming. Life continued. But every now and then someone would mention her, usually by accident, usually with the same confused expression, and always followed by the same question. What was her name again? Nobody ever knew. Then, nearly a year after her disappearance, Ethan found something. A receipt. Old. Folded. Wedged between 2 storage shelves in the back office. The date matched one of the woman's last visits. Ethan stared at it for several seconds, then smiled. Finally, a name. A credit card receipt had to have a name. He carried it into the cafe, sat at table 7, and unfolded it. The receipt was faded, the print barely visible, but one section remained clear. The signature line. Ethan's heart pounded. He looked down, expecting answers, expecting closure. Instead, he found a single handwritten sentence. Nothing else. No signature, no name. Just 6 words. Thank you for remembering me. Ethan stared at the receipt for a long time. Then something occurred to him. Something simple. Something he should have realized much earlier. For an entire year, he had never once seen the woman introduce herself. Not to a customer, not to a friend, not to the staff, not to anyone. And somehow, nobody had ever asked.